Good morning, everyone. We'll get started now. Welcome to our Sunday School Family Service on this last day of January the 31st. Welcome to everybody on live streaming and YouTube. So first we'll have the starting bell. Please rise for the entering of the minister. Thank you. You may be seated. We will now have a 1-minute Zazen meditation.
Good morning. We will have Zen meditation for 1 minute. For today, some new participants come. So I'd like to explain how to sit in Zazen. So at first, straighten your back. So do not lean backward. And pull in your chin and extend your neck. And sway your body right and left a few times. Next, your right hand palm up, and your left hand palm up on your right palm. Then tip your thumb lightly touching each other, and naturally place on your lap. And keep your eye half open, so not closed. And cast your sight, look downward about 45-degree angle. And please take a deep breath, so using your abdomen. Breathe in from your nose. Breathe out from your nose. During Zen meditation, so don't think of anything. If your thoughts come up, so just let go of your thoughts. we're gonna have zazen for 1 minute. Please put your hand together in gasho and bow. Thank you very much.
We will now have sampai, that's bowing 3 times to Buddha. Thank you. If we can now all please rise, we'll do Bandhana and Tisarana. The words are on the screen, and for you at home, it's on page 17 of your green book.
Sangha for guidance.
seated. We will now chant Heart of Great Perfect Wisdom Sutra. The words will be on the screen, and for the people at home, it will be page 33. At this time, for the people in the church, we'll have offering of incense. So we'll start from the left side. If you can come up and take a little cup, offer your incense, and then put the cup on the right side of the altar. And the people on my left, if you can come up and go back down the middle, and the people on my right, after you offer incense, if you can come around on the side.
Mahasattvas, wisdom beyond wisdom, Mahaprajna Paramita.
We will now recite the creed. For those in church, it's on the screen. For those at home, it's on page 248.
Embraced
By the Buddha's boundless compassion, we shall attain a peaceful state of mind and enjoy a life of tranquility. Having confidence in the Buddha's most excellent teachings, we shall attain a clear state of mind and enjoy a life of purity. Following the Buddha's example to avoid discrimination and to be mutually harmonious, we shall transcend the distinctions between self and others and enjoy a life of peace.
We will now recite verse of the Three Treasures, page 249.
Although it is hard to be born into human life, now we are living it. Although it is difficult to hear the teachings of the Blessed One, now we hear them. However, if we are not awakened in this present life, we may continue to struggle in the midst of ignorance. Let us reverently take refuge in three treasures, the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha.
We go to the Buddha for guidance. May we always walk in the way that leads to enlightenment. We go to the Dharma for guidance. May we be submerged in the depths of the teaching and gain wisdom as deep as the ocean. We go to the Sangha for guidance. May we all with one accord live the life of harmony and peace.
Even throughout eternity, hard it is to hear such excellent and profound teachings. Now we are able to hear and receive them. Let us endeavor to understand the Buddha's teachings.
If we can all now please rise, we'll sing our Gatha, When We See the Golden Sun. For those at home, it's on page 173. For those in the church, the words will be on the screen. Sensei Haka will be playing the ukulele for accompaniment.
When we see the golden sun shining from above, we are mindful of the Buddha's love. For us all his pure compassion sheds its steadfast glow. By his doctrine, wisdom's way to show. When we see the silver moon gleaming in the sky, we remember still our Lord is nigh. By his blessed law to guide us through this earthly night, out of sorrow into joy and love.
Thank you very much. You may be seated. We will now have our Dharma message given by Deacon Juho Kirkpatrick.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Thank you all for coming today. A month or so ago, Reverend Hopper gave a talk about how we think about things. And how we think about things would take us all the way to nirvana if we had right thinking. So I want to talk about that today. I'm going to start by reading the number 1 of the Dhammapada. It says, all mental states have their mind as their forerunner. Mind is their chief. They are mind-made. If one speaks or acts with a defiled mind, then suffering follows one, as the wheel follows the hoof of the ox cart. If one speaks or acts with a pure mind, happiness follows one, as one shadow that does not leave one. So everything stems from the mind. And there's many things during the days, the months, weeks that our thinking affects our lives. One interesting thing is how some people in different places think. Years ago, I went to Southeast Asia and I visited the temples, and I noticed that a lot of the Theravada monks, they would shave their eyebrows for the same reason they shaved their head, so it would not make them pretty. But years before that, I worked in Brazil, and I noticed that the Indians in Brazil, they all shaved their eyebrows. But they shaved their eyebrows so they thought it would make them pretty. So on one hand, people think it makes them pretty. On the other hand, it makes them not pretty. So different people think different ways. And even around the world, I noticed there's women, they wear rings in their noses. And then some women wear rings in their ears. Depends how they think about things. But our thoughts and ideas change over time. When I was a boy, I believed in Santa Claus, but as time went on, I got more information and I didn't believe in Santa Claus anymore. And when I grew up in the Midwest, and I never saw an octopus. The only thing I saw was in the movies or on TV. So I had this idea that an octopus was just a slimy creature. And to me, I would never even think of eating one, because it would be horrible to me. But a couple of years later, when I was in the Navy, I was in Spain, and I went to a real nice restaurant, and I ordered a seafood platter. And it came, and it was covered with a red sauce, so I couldn't distinguish too many things. And there was a couple of little curlicue things in there, and I thought, well, they were pieces of fish, and I ate them. But then when I got down to the bottom of the plate, here's a taco, all together, a small baby taco. And at that moment I realized that I had eaten the tentacles of an octopus. So I had to change my mind real quick, because when I ate them, they were good. But in my mind, I thought they would be horrible, so our mind changes a lot. But in our lives also, on a more serious note, we have worry, tension, anxiety, stress. This is caused many times by how we think about things. we cause our own stress. I'll give an example. Years ago, I lived in Honolulu, and my neighbor, she had a job taking care of people's pets when they went on vacation. And there was a lot of people doing that at that time. She had a busy business. And she was telling me one time she feels stressed out. So I asked her, I said, why do you feel stressed? And she said, well, I get up in the morning, I look at my workload, and I feel stressed. So I told her, let me tell you a story. Years ago, when I was at the meditation center in Los Angeles, we had a 3-day retreat up in the mountains. So we went and we camped up in the mountains that day. And during the day, we had walked down the mountain. And in the afternoon, we were walking back up the mountain. And I was with my teacher, and he was an older person. So I asked my teacher, would you like to stop and rest for a minute? And he said, no. And he looked at me. He said, you know, if I think that the camp is all the way to the top of the mountain, already I am tired. But if I think to take just one little step, then it's not a problem. So I told the lady, says, here you have to go feed the dog, here you have to clean the canary cage, here you have to change the kitty litter. Each step is an easy step, so there's no reason to be stressful. So this is just an example, but sometimes when we feel stress, we have to look at ourselves and see how we're thinking about things, and maybe we can think about things a little differently, and we wouldn't have the stress. Same thing goes for anger. Anger is caused a lot of times by how we think about things. And if we think about things differently, we won't have that. So on my next talk, I'm going to talk more about anger and how we think about anger. But the lesson for today, for the children, I would like them to know that anger is not a good condition. Anger is not good because it causes a lot of problems when we act out in anger. So just remember, anger is not a good thing, not a good condition. That's all I have today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Deacon Juho. If we can all please rise now, we will have shomyo. And then after that, we'll have sampa.
Shakamuni Butsu